My name is obviously Liv, or Olivia if you're new here. So glad you decided to stop by. And this video is going to be a little bit of a miscellaneous everything, but mainly talking about the future for this channel and my reading goals this year. Basically, I'm here to tell you how YouTube ruined my life. I'm totally kidding. I'm just kidding. There is a lot that's been going on in my mind, in my life, that is going to kind of shift the things that I do here on this channel, and not in a massive way, but I do want to share those things with you and be vulnerable with you, because I feel like I'm not always vulnerable here on my channel, and I just have a lot to say, a lot that's going on in my head. But this is going to be kind of like a mini vlog. We are going to be doing some obviously chatting about my Goodreads goal, reading goal, life goals, but more so intentions for 2024, because I hate the word goals. I feel like it just makes you feel like an utter failure if you miss one day of something. I don't know, there's so much pressure that comes with the word goal. So we are talking about intentions this year. Intentions in my relationships, intentions in this channel, intentions in my life, and what that is going to look like here in the new year. So before we get started on all of the decluttering, I'm probably going to be doing a little bit of a mini unhaul because I have been unhauling books like crazy, which I will also talk about here in a minute. But I'm unhauling about 150 to 200 books, and I'm still pulling books off my shelf every single day. I've changed a lot as a reader, but we're probably going to be pulling some more books today. I also have a fantastic reading journal that I'm going to be trying out this year. That is part of me trying to slow down. We're also going to be just kind of reorganizing my shelves. My office space is a wreck. You guys never see how crazy messy this space is, but we've just got a lot of organizing to do. But before we get into all that, let's just chat about my reading goals. You know what, let's back up a quick minute and let's talk about my channel rebrand. You have probably noticed in my previous video, maybe in my pictures, my banners, whatever, and there's not a whole lot of thought behind it, other than I wanted something new and fresh to go along with kind of like my fresh reset mind for this channel. I've always been drawn to more neutrals and dark colors, as you can tell, but I just want to play with color and have fun with thumbnails and have fun with everything I do here on my channel. Big word. Fun is what we're aiming for this year. And I've wanted to rebrand for a while now. I've had the same kind of branding for 3 or 4 years. I wanted something that was bright, that was beautiful, that kind of went with the photos that my friend did for me for my birthday, which I have not gotten all of those back, but I will be sharing more of those because we had the best time. It was so much fun. So there might be still some more changes here and there as I kind of refine things. I just felt like I was being stifled by muted tones. So basically, I just want something brighter, something happier that looks a little bit more me, but looks modern, looks kind of groovy, looks kind of fun, but overall just makes you happy when you see it. Basically, my other branding was not really making me exactly happy, so that's basically all there is to share on that. But my overall goals this year, or intentions, should I say, is I don't have any. I don't have any goals for this year with my channel or my Goodreads. And that feels really weird as a type 1 person to say. That feels very not me at all, but I'm trying to fully embrace it. We are going for no perfectionism, none whatsoever in 2024. Just getting vulnerable here for a second, I very vividly remember a day when I was sitting down to film and I had a basically panic attack. I have never experienced anything like that in my life before. It was terrifying. I had like tingly fingers and toes, and I just felt basically completely off. I was stressing about a video. I had to keep saying things over and over again, and I was getting so frustrated with myself. I knew something had to change, and that change is going to be no goals. If I don't say that out loud, I'm not going to hold myself accountable for it. So I'm sitting here saying there are no goals. I don't have a subscriber count I'm trying to get to. I don't have a number of books I'm going to be reading, which I will talk about that in a second. When I was joking when I said YouTube ruined my life, I definitely feel like that was a joke, but also not really. Going off of that, I feel like I work full time. I am a wife, I'm a sister, and I also just really love my full-time job. I feel like I've been prioritizing all my time in the wrong place, and that has not been healthy for me at all. I have been prioritizing all of my friendships on this platform. I've been prioritizing all my books over the one most important book of my life, which is the Bible. Before I even realized what was really happening, I just felt like I was falling apart. And I feel like I've really lost a sense of who I am. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like if all of this disappeared tomorrow, what would my life look like? First of all, I'd have so much more time on my hands. Second of all, I would miss you all like crazy, which is why this is not a goodbye video, but I'm just here to kind of chat with you my thoughts and feelings, because that's another goal of mine going into the new year, is just being more vulnerable on the hard days. Like, I think we all kind of put on this facade because we talk about books and that's all we talk about. But because you've stuck around for this long and you keep coming back, that just shows that you guys are invested in me and my life, and I owe you that to just be more open and just have more chatty videos like this. But basically, all of this stress kind of comes from me being on YouTube for 4 or 5 years. It is so hard to keep up with the trends. There's obviously new booktubers coming in all the time. They're younger, they put out more videos than me. Like, I just cannot keep up. And this year, I am focusing on not keeping up. I am just doing the content that makes me happy. I just want to relate to people on books again. I want myself to understand and get back to the root of why I'm doing this. I do have bullet points, but I feel like it's just better to speak from the heart. But I do want to stay a little bit on track here, and all of that to say, my biggest goal, my #1 word for the year, which I've never chosen a word for the year before, but it just came to me and I was like, okay, God, I hear you, I understand. And that word is cultivate. I want to cultivate and develop not only myself, but do that here with you guys. I don't want to be focused on growth. I don't want to be focused on numbers. I just want to cultivate and develop the friendships and the things I already have. And that comes from a place of just wanting to be more grateful and not always wanting more, and not always wanting to be the biggest, best booktuber. Like, I will never be that. And honestly, it's taken me 4 years to realize that now, and that's okay. It's a learning process. Of course, you know, you will get a little bit sad when you're doing all these videos and you don't get numbers, but for me, I just want to do this for fun. I want to develop and grow myself so that I can better encourage other people and other friends that I have in my life. But the word cultivate also goes for my reading. I want to cultivate the genres, the books I already own. We are now getting into reading goals, obviously, but cultivate is the biggest word of the year. But I have it written in my reading journal, and I'm constantly thinking about this word cultivate. How can I develop myself better so that I can encourage other people, encourage my family, my husband, or whoever it is to be essentially the best version of myself? I have, I guess, over the past couple of years, really cultivated or developed my reading taste by expanding my horizons. I've read romance, I've read horror, not so much sci-fi, but you get the idea. I basically love fantasy, but I've been reading all of these other things. And now I can fully grasp and and develop just that fantasy genre that I love so much. So that is why I am going to be unhauling a lot of romance, a lot of things that have been sitting on my shelf for ages. Hopefully that makes sense in some sort of way, but I think it's interesting how that word can fall into my life and also my channel and also my reading goals. So that is kind of my word for the year, but let's just go and talk a little bit more about reading goals in general. I know I've typically been known for reading a bunch of different genres, but you can expect me to be going a little bit more into my fantasy era. I hate that word, but honestly that just describes how I'm feeling. So you can kind of expect that more in the new year, is for Olivia to be going straight full speed ahead reading a lot of fantasy books. I'm also going to be bumping down my Goodreads goal. I think the past couple years I've tried to read 100 books and I'm not gonna do that again. I've read 100 books twice in my life. I've only ever wanted to attempt it once and I've done it. We've read 100 books and I don't feel the need to do that again. We're aiming for quality over quantity this year, and a lot of those books I'm going to be reading are on my shelves. It's really sad when I walk into the bookstore and I'm like, what kind of book can I look at or find today? And every single one that I see, I already own. That is such a big issue, a spending issue, which is why I'm not going to be purchasing a lot of books this year. I'm actually going to be only buying series that I own maybe number 1 of, or I just need to complete, or I'm going to be buying anticipated releases. Most of my money is going to be going into books from authors that I love. So we're not going on a book buying ban. We're not going to go on a restriction because we all know that just makes it worse. But I'm just being very selective with what I own, especially because, like I said, I'm going to be unhauling. I'm going to be curating my shelves and cleaning up this room, and I do not want to make it a giant mess again, honestly. And because I'm lowering my Goodreads goal, that does have to do with me wanting to explore more cozy hobbies. I want to be able to give myself the choice of being able to, oh, do I want to read today? Or would I rather go do a cozy hobby? Not, oh my gosh, I have to read today type situation. I want to give myself the choice of being able to do something that I love. I don't want reading to feel like a chore anymore. I want to play the Switch more. I have my reading journal, which I'm going to show you guys. That's going to help me kind of slow down. I love diamond painting. I got into that at the end of the year and I'm honestly obsessed with it. I bought a couple more canvases recently that I cannot wait to get to. I want to learn how to cross stitch. There are so many other things that I would love to do, and I can listen to audio while I'm doing those if I want, but I don't want to feel like I have to be doing that. Kind of along the same realm of unhauling and curating my life a little bit better, I am a minimalist in every sense except when it comes to books for some reason. So I want that lifestyle to kind of reflect in the books that I own, but I've also kind of done this detox with Goodreads and my social media. So I wasn't gonna show what I did on my Goodreads, but I did wipe out, I think about 700 books, I think, on my Goodreads TBR. And I would love for my TBR to be just books that I own. Fortunately, it's not gonna be that way, but I literally got rid of a lot of books. Like I said, my reading taste has changed. I didn't even know how or why some of those books ended up on my list, but that also went into my social media. I felt like I was so stressed every time I got on Bookstagram because I was following thousands of people or hundreds of people, and every time a post would come up, I didn't even recognize who the person was. And I, again, that goes with the cultivate kind of mindset, develop, chat with you guys. I unfollowed probably 800 people on Bookstagram. I had to do it for my mental health. I could not follow more than 1,000 people or it was going to drive me insane. I kept stressing out. I also did it for my photography business account as well, not just Bookstagram. So we kind of did a social media detox, a Goodreads kind of clean out. So basically that was more of like a brain dump kind of situation with you guys. There's definitely more detailed explanations of my rebranding, why I'm unhauling, all this kind of stuff that I'll probably explain more in future videos. But for now, that's kind of the broad general approach that I have going into this new year. We are kind of starting fresh with my reading, with my social media, with my Goodreads, everything I'm doing. need to do it for my silly little mental health. My brain can only handle so much these days. I know that was a lot, so to sum it up, we are trying to read 75 books this year. We are trying to focus on cultivating and developing the community I already have here, my relationships in my real life, and also developing my reading a little bit more into the fantasy genre. We are out with perfectionism completely. That goes for even things like vlogs. They are not going to be this huge long production anymore. I'm going to be working more on short-term content and even just chatty videos. And basically, I want to reprioritize going out, living my life, reading my Bible, doing all of these different things that I have been missing and craving for so long, but I didn't realize. So if I'm a little bit more inconsistent, if I only do like 2 videos a month, please do not freak out. We are just doing whatever and whenever the wind takes us. We are not focused on growth this year. We are focused on developing. So I thought I would share with you guys really quick some things that I'm going to be consistently doing that are going to help me slow down this year. And the first one is actually picking up a reading journal. So I tried to do a reading journal back in 2021, maybe 2020, when things were locked down, and I have seen Little Inkling's design planners for years. Ever since I started a Bookstagram, I have loved her stuff. They are a little bit more pricey, but they are also a bookish and a daily planner, which I love. There's a place for YouTube planning, there's a place for your book stuff, but also life stuff as well. So this is everything in one, and it's honestly not that big. So I am going to be starting this. I'm also going to be doing like monthly reset videos going into the new year, where you will see a little bit more in depth of how I'm using this. I feel like the first month of using a planner is always kind of trial and error, but this is stunning. I will leave her shop below. This one is undated, so if I skip a month or something happens where I don't use it, that's totally fine. But this is going to help me be way more in tune with my reading. The second tool that I have used in previous years but have actually never completed is the Bible Recap by Tara-Leigh Cobble. If you guys have not heard of her and you're trying to read through the Bible in a year or just start somewhere and get into the Bible, she has a podcast, but she also has this beautiful book. It's like imitation leather, where basically you read a passage of the Bible, it summarizes up what in the world you just read, and then there's also an application at the end. I think right now I'm actually going to be starting into Deuteronomy, so I'm not that far. I'm actually picking up where I left off in the fall of last year. I kind of dropped off during the crazy holiday season, but we're getting back into this. This is a great resource, a great tool. Like I said, she has a podcast called Bible Recap, and if you're looking for something just to start somewhere, I highly recommend this. I also use my ESV study Bible. This is like my favorite Bible of all time. It's so helpful and so insightful. So I'm going to be using these two things throughout the year, and you'll probably see it in more videos and stuff like that, but I'm just excited to share more about what God's been doing in my life. Okay, besties, that was a lot of information. That was a lot of just me blabbing on and just being honest with you guys. I feel like I have a huge weight lifted from my shoulders, and I can just go into this new year finally fresh. I have a brand new mindset of reprioritizing so many different things in my life, but that does not mean I am going anywhere. So let's just go ahead and get into reorganizing my bookshelves. I have my TBR cart that needs to be completely revamped. I'm using it in a little bit of a different way than I have before. I also am cleaning out my office closet, which is insanely messy, and I probably am not going to show the process of a lot of doing this stuff because it takes me twice as long to do it when I'm filming versus if I just did it. So I'm going to be doing a bunch of just cleaning and organizing. I'll show you the before and the after at least. We've got a lot to do. I'm going to hopefully start my reading journal. I'll probably do a quick flip through of that for you guys just so you can kind of see what her reading journals have, but again, I'm going to be sharing more in future videos. Let's just go ahead and start into all of the organizing. Alright friends, I'm going to share with you what we're working with. As you can tell, my bookshelves are quite a mess. There are big gaps and books are just falling all over the place. Like, look at that. It's kind of a mess. So first things first, we are going to try to get all of these books. There's about 60 of them. We are going to attempt to get them all on the shelves. I don't know if it's gonna work, but I've kind of thought about double stacking, like putting some in the back, just the ones that don't really help contribute to the rainbow, because we want to keep the rainbow theme. I kind of am tired of the rainbow, but there's no way in heck we are going to organize all of this. First things first, we're going to try to get all of those up off the floor. Then over here around my desk area, we have these books for a book unhaul. There's about 100 books here, and every time you walk in and open the door, it smacks the stacks and they start falling down. So we're going to attempt to put all of these in a big box out on the landing outside this door, so that way it's off the floor, it's out of the way, and that way when I do my unhaul video or take pictures for Pango, I can just pull the box in here, do the video, pull the box back out, and hopefully it won't be a big deal. The other thing we have going on over here is obviously those book sleeves need to be put away. These boxes are going in the closet. This is my 24 books for 2024 that I think I'm going to put on the bottom shelf of my cart. My cart is currently a wreck. It's all of my winter books on the middle and bottom shelves here, but the top one is like my TBR and it's also really messy. So we are going to attempt to organize this as well. January TBR and book haul and 24 books. Next we have a kitty that wants so desperately to have the window opened. But I recently got into diamond painting again, and I don't know how to organize all this stuff. Like, I have to keep the canvas over here, but then hair gets in it. Barren. And then everything is just a mess over here on my desk. So this is also hopefully going to be cleaned up today. We have Christmas stuff that was on my shelf. And then we have the very, very dreaded closet, you guys. Oh my word. These are all my overflow books. There's middle grade, graphic novels, and manga in here, as well as some Christian nonfiction, diamond painting stuff, work computer, extra monitors. These drawers actually broke during our move, and I've never gotten a new container since. So all of this stuff has been cleaned out. I've actually gotten rid of 3 garbage bags of stuff just from some of these drawers. But yeah, that's more diamond painting stuff. We obviously have things up here on the shelves, and so we just need to get organized here. So I might not show the whole process of this, but this is another big thing that I'm going to be working on. I'm honestly thinking with the new drawers I have, it's on wheels, so I can actually move it around. But I think I'm going to put it by the door because I'm going to be putting like markers and coloring things and just things that I use on the regular in my new drawers. And I'm thinking I'm going to put all my overflow books on the back of this wall, so that way when I open the door, I can just see all the books quickly. How does that sound, Baron? Huh? You ready to get started? Hopefully he actually works and helps me, because this is gonna take quite a while. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, friends, here's how clean everything is. My gosh, there's no books here on the floor. Well, except for those. Those are like for book hauls. I can't fit it on the cart. There's no books here. There's no books here. I decided to go ahead and move my chair here so that way when I sit, I can see out my window and have a great view. But yeah, all my shelves, they're full again. They look so good. Obviously, this area has been completely cleared off. I actually have to move my main PC over and move my work computer, which is down here, up here consistently, like 3 days a week. Super frustrating, but now things are cleared off, so hopefully that should not be a problem. My book cart is still in the same place, but it's all clean. And then we have the closet, which is the biggest relief of my life, y'all. This is just, I know it probably doesn't look clean to you, but honestly, to me it's great. So we have everything in those 3 drawers that were broken in here. All of this stuff needs to go somewhere at some point, but that's book sleeves, diamond painting. All of my books back here are like middle grade, manga graphic novels, cozies, Christian nonfiction, and then everything else, like fantasy and thrillers, is on my shelf. That's like lighting equipment and packing for Pango. All my totes are hung up. We have puzzles, we have Harry Potter books, and more computer screens, diamond painting, printer, camera gear, all that good stuff. So I am feeling much better. I actually have floor space where I can walk into this office now. It is clean and I am happy. Hello friends, I'm back. I am just going to quickly catch you up to speed on the progress that I've made with my reading journal that I am very excited about. In no way is this perfect at all, but it is a great jumpstart for me as someone who's trying to save time from bullet journaling everything. I'm not going to show you every single spread in here, but I am just going to show you the front that kind of shows all of the bookish parts. So obviously it comes with a sticker sheet, super convenient. We have our little front page here. I just kind of put stuff on here that looked cute, nothing crazy. So this first page is a dates to remember, and I decided to use it as an anticipated release spread so I can see the whole year at a glance very quickly. Instead of using this as like birthdays or anything like that, I've already got that in my phone. So this is going to be a quick glance, and I have already put the January and February books that I'm very excited about. Next, we have the important info, which I have not completely filled out this legend yet. I can't decide what colors I want to do, but these are the most anticipated books. Obviously House of Flame and Shadow, how I rate my books, and over here I do have my goals, but I do want to make it look cute, and I just haven't had time to write things in yet, but I do have my goals, as you guys know. This is just a reading checklist of all the books that I have read or will be reading. This is the bookshelf that obviously I still need to start coloring in. We also have a book series tracker, which is going to be amazing for me because one of my biggest goals is to read more series this year. It's kind of cool because at a glance you can see how long the series is. And on this side I'm going to do graphic novels and manga, and this side is going to be just like regular fantasy books. Then on this page we have a movie tracker, which is super fun. I do want to watch more movies and TV in the new year. This is also for quotes from books that I've loved, which I've only read 2 books this year, so I haven't filled it out. We have a wish list, also 5-star reads. We've already had our first 5-star read, which is Ruthless Vows. This spread I decided to use since there's 12 books. I'm going to use this for my Patreon Tea Time Society, and it looks so cute. We have a Fragile Enchantment. I haven't colored in the stars, but I felt like that was the perfect way to use this spread, and I also have a cute little teapot sticker up here that I found. Next we have the A to Z challenge, which I would actually really love to do. X and Z are super hard. They can just be any letter within the title, not necessarily start with it, and I still can't find anything. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know. I would love to be able to fully fill this out and read all of these. I'm not going to be doing the fully booked challenge, but I think I am going to be doing Reading the Rainbow, and all of these are anticipated reads coming out this year. I've already read 2 of them, which is awesome. We have Read the 75 Books, and I need to actually put another sticker on here, but this is really fun because I just have these bookish stickers that I can, you know, see the progress throughout the year, which is super satisfying. Next we have the Battle of the Books, which I have never actually done this, and it sounds so fun. So I'm very excited to actually be able to narrow down that one specific book that's going to be my favorite this year. year. We also have the page tracker, which is a lot of work to keep up with, but I've been able to do it so far, which is awesome. I have read every day this year except for one day, which is super great. We then just have the monthly reading stats, the genre tally that I've filled out. A lot of these are just blank, like stat pages, which is super fun. I haven't figured out how I want to use these yet, but I think it's going to be really fun when I figure that out. Of course, I just had to swatch all my Tombos, my highlighters, all my brush markers, and then my favorite part is the 12 friend recommendations. I wrote everyone's name and I wrote the book that they chose for me. So that way, if I'm reading the book and I'm loving it or I want to give them some thoughts, I remember who recommended me that book. I'm very much looking forward to that. And next, we have all of the 24 books for 2024 that I chose this year. Very excited and genuinely interested in all of these books. I decided just to put some like washi tape here to make a border. I've got some really cute like bookish stickers, so we just kind of went simple because obviously the book covers are what's going to take up most of the space. But these two things are just two things that I decided to add that weren't necessarily part of the journal itself. And then of course you're going to get into like the monthly spread, and we have my TBR and the new releases, and then of course you kind of just get into weekly spreads. That is basically the way I am using my journal this year. I'm very, very, very excited about it. This journal is absolutely stunning, y'all. I highly recommend it. It's just so beautiful. The foiling and everything, the tabs, I mean, it's just so pretty. So I'm very excited about it, and I will leave all of her information in the description below. Welcome back, friends. How's it going? We're trying to stay hydrated over here because we've been doing a lot of moving around today, obviously, doing a lot of organizing, and I will say I did not organize this whole room in one day. I absolutely did not. I did it over a few days. I went out, I got some storage bins, I got some drawers. If I could see my floor again, there's no books over here. I'm hoping to get way more plants in the new year. I would love to like hang some from my ceiling near my office space and all that good stuff. I have 16 more books that I'm unhauling, and I don't know what the total number is. I am gonna have an unhaul coming out next week, I believe, but this is just gonna give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what I'm getting rid of, starting us off with Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. I ended up just listening to this because I knew real quickly this was not going to be the book for me, but I also wanted to give it more of a chance. I love Catherine Walsh. I loved holiday romance. Sadly, this one was not for me. There was no chemistry between the characters. It was not as funny as the other one, and yeah, this might be the last book I read by her, sadly, but yeah, I'm not gonna keep this one. I'm also gonna be getting rid of one of my favorite authors' books, but it's my least favorite book of theirs. That is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This one I had a hard time relating to. I gave this a 3-star. It's my least favorite of hers that I've read, so I'm not gonna keep it. Also gonna be getting rid of another favorite author's book, that is The Final Girls by Riley Sager. This is one of the oldest books I've had sitting on my shelf. Still have not touched it. I love all of his other books. I don't even own most of his books because I usually get them as NetGalley arcs. You know, if I want to read it at another time, I'm just going to get it from the library or something, because I've heard from most people that this is like not his best work. I also have Death on the Nile, which I read when I had COVID, and it was fun to read because I knew the movie was coming out. I did predict what was happening in this one. It was a good time. I don't know, I just don't feel the need to keep this one. I like Agatha Christie, but I don't gravitate towards a lot of her stories. So if I do want any of her books, I'll probably get like the beautiful kind of like floral redesigns they've been doing. But this one I'm just not completely in love with. I also have To All the Boys I've Loved Before. I got this super cheap from somewhere. I love the movie series or the TV series, but I'm quickly learning that just because you love a TV series doesn't mean you have to read the book. I'm not keeping this. I could easily listen to them on audio, and I just don't want to own the whole series. Like, it's cute, but it's also a young adult romance, which I do not gravitate towards. I also have Never Let Me Go, which I adored and sobbed at the movie, but I honestly am wondering, because I've had this for 5 years, that I should just leave the image of the movie in my head and not worry about this. I don't know. It's like I really loved the story, but if it's been sitting on my shelf for so long, I don't need it. I also have The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. I love the show. The show is like top 5 favorites, top 3 favorites of all time for me. I've heard some not so great things about the book. I've heard it's not scary. I am just not gravitating towards it. I like the show for what it is, and I kind of want to keep it that way. I also have this very old yellowed paperback edition of The Hunger Games. I recently bought the hardback to match with the rest of my hardbacks. I literally had only this in paperback and the rest were hardbacks, and I think I got this for like $1 from a library sale. These are so cheap and easy to get a hold of these days. I also have The Immortalist by Chloe Benjamin. This has been on my shelf since 2018 maybe. It's beautiful. I read another one of her books that I really enjoyed, but I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of looking at it on my shelf. I just want to start new and make room for anticipated reads. Fortunately, I'm just gonna give this over to another home or a person that will enjoy it more. I also have this arc of Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw, which I was ecstatic to get at the time. This came out in 2019, but I still haven't read it. I love Shay Earnshaw, but like, I've heard this is a lot of people's least favorite. I don't care enough. I honestly don't care. I also have Last to Leave the Room by Caitlin Starling. She wrote, what is it called? The Death of Jane Lawrence, which I actually kind of liked. It was like a 3-star, very slow burn, like gothic tale. This girl who meets another, like a doppelganger of her, and I don't know, something weird sci-fi horror-ish is going on with this, but I'd rather get it from the library if I actually feel like I'm gonna read it. It sounds good, but because their other book was mediocre for me, I don't feel the need to keep this one either. And I have another arc called Little Eve by Catriona Ward. This one I know is about cults or something cultish, and honestly that's not my vibe. I think I'm gonna get rid of all of her books except for Needless Street. I also have Pan's Labyrinth, which this is very popular, but I did not like it. I even watched the movie, didn't like it. I don't know. It's just really, really, really weird and not my kind of weird. I also have Severance by Ling Ma, which I think maybe won like an award on Goodreads or something like that. But basically what made me pick this one up is it's like the end of the world. This girl's a photographer. I don't do photography a lot anymore, and honestly it's not a good enough reason for me to keep this book, so I would rather just get rid of it and get it from the library if one day I feel like I need to read it for some reason. Last but not least, I'm also going to be unhauling The Kingdom of Sweets, which I did get recently in December, and I was hearing terrible things. Something about this, like, people are just telling me don't even bother. Why hold on to books that are just gonna be mediocre, you know? Okay, so here's like, oh no, here's a little sneak peek of what my unhaul is gonna look like. We're being pretty ruthless, and I'm honestly not mad about it because like I said, I'm just trying to be so picky about what I own. If I would recommend it or let someone borrow it because I loved it that much, then I'm gonna keep it. I'm looking at my shelves every day thinking, would I read that tomorrow or would I pick that up today? And if the answer is no, we're just getting rid of it. Also, go ahead and follow me on Pango books because I am going to be selling all of these, as many as possible, on Pango in the upcoming weeks. So if you see anything that you like in this video or my next video, definitely go check out my Pango shelves. Well friends, I hope you enjoyed this kind of random video. I've been seeing a lot of people do yearly reset videos, but I apologize, mine is definitely a little bit late. We're just going with my mood and honestly whatever mental state I'm in at the time, we're just going with the flow. So I apologize that this is late, but I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Sorry it was more rambly, a little bit different than what you're used to. I hope I made sense in the beginning with some of my goals. I'm basically just reprioritizing the things I need to prioritize, which is my full-time job, my family, and the things outside YouTube, but I'm also hoping to share more of those things with you in the new year and just be more open and fun and stress-free. So I hope some of those goals resonated with you. I'm excited to see what 2024 is going to bring for me and for you. I'm so glad to have you guys along on this journey with me for another year on YouTube. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video.